Captain Kim Jisoo stood on the bridge of the exploration vessel New Dawn, watching the massive alien station grow larger on the main screen. After 3 months of travel through deep space, humanity was finally about to make first contact with the Galactic Council. The station was enormous, easily 10 times the size of any human structure. Its dark metal surface gleamed with thousands of lights, and strange ships of all shapes and sizes docked at its many ports. "Captain, we are receiving their docking instructions," said Communications Officer Ju Jinwoo from his station. "They want us to dock at Bay 17. Jisoo nodded. "Take us in slowly, Lieutenant Ominji. We want to make a good first impression." The pilot carefully guided their ship toward the designated docking bay. Through the windows, they could see alien beings moving around inside the station. Some were tall and thin with multiple arms. Others looked like walking trees with glowing eyes. A few resembled large insects with shiny shells. "This is it," said Chief Science Officer Park Min-soo, adjusting his uniform, "the moment humanity joins the galactic community." Cultural Liaison Liuna checked her translation device one more time. She had spent years learning about alien languages and customs. "Remember, we represent all of Earth today. Every human colony is watching this moment." The New Dawn settled into the docking bay with a soft thud. Through the airlock came the sound of machinery connecting their ship to the station. Soon they would breathe alien air and walk among beings from distant stars. "Atmospheric readings are acceptable," reported Park Min-soo. "Gravity is slightly lower than Earth's normal. Air composition is safe for humans." Captain Jisoo straightened her blue diplomatic uniform. "Open the airlock. Let's go meet our new neighbors." The 3 humans walked through the connecting tunnel and into the station. The ceiling was much higher than any human building, easily 4 meters tall. The walls were covered with screens showing information in dozens of alien languages. Strange music played from hidden speakers, mixing sounds that human ears had never heard before. Their escort was waiting for them. It was a being that looked somewhat like a large bird, but with 4 arms instead of wings. Its feathers were bright purple and its eyes were completely black. "Welcome to Harmony Station," the creature said in perfect English through their translation devices. "I am Guide Calyx of the Avian Collective. The Galactic Council is ready to receive your delegation." They followed Calyx through long corridors filled with alien beings. Some stopped to stare at the humans with curiosity. Others ignored them completely. The 3 humans tried not to stare back, but it was impossible not to be amazed by the diversity of life forms around them. "Your species is quite young," Calyx said as they walked. "According to our records, you have only recently developed faster than light travel. Most species require several thousand years to reach this level." "Humans are quick learners," Captain Jisoo replied. "We had to be living on our world." Calyx made a sound that might have been laughter. "Yes, Earth. A Class 7 death world. It is remarkable that intelligent life could evolve there at all." Liuna frowned. "Death world. What does that mean?" "Oh, you do not know your own classification," Calyx said with what seemed like amusement. "Your planet is considered extremely dangerous by galactic standards. The gravity is very high. The weather is violent and unpredictable. Your atmosphere contains a highly reactive gas called oxygen that most species find toxic, and the life forms on your world are incredibly aggressive." Park Min-soo looked confused. "But that's just normal for us." "Exactly," Calyx replied. "Most civilized species could not survive a single day on your world without protective equipment. It is considered one of the most hostile environments in the galaxy." They reached a massive set of doors that opened automatically. Beyond was the council chamber, a huge circular room with tiered seating rising up toward the ceiling. Hundreds of alien beings sat in the seats, representing species from across the galaxy. At the center of the room was a raised platform with several chairs. "The human delegation will present themselves to the council," announced a voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Captain Jisoo led her team to the center platform. The 3 humans looked small, surrounded by so many alien beings. Some of the creatures were enormous, filling entire sections of seating. Others were tiny and seemed to float in special containers. A being that looked like a cross between a snake and a spider rose from the front row. It was covered in shiny black scales and had 8 legs that moved in perfect coordination. When it spoke, its voice was cold and sharp. "I am Ambassador Vex of the Hegemony Coalition," it said. "We have reviewed your application for membership in the Galactic Council. Your species shows promise, but you are still very primitive." Captain Jisoo kept her voice calm and respectful. "We come in peace, seeking friendship and cooperation with all civilized species." Ambassador Vex made a sound like steam escaping from a pipe. "Peace. Yes, that is what all young species say. But you come from a death world. Violence is in your nature. You cannot help but be savage." Lee Yuna stepped forward. "Humans have moved beyond our violent past. We seek to learn from more advanced civilizations." "Have you really?" Vex asked. "Our scouts have observed your colonies. You build on worlds that would kill most species within hours. You fight wars over resources instead of simply trading for them. You even compete with each other for entertainment, causing injury for pleasure." Park Min-soo tried to explain. "Those are sports. We don't actually try to hurt each other seriously, you see," Vex said, turning to address the entire council. "They admit to ritual combat as entertainment. This is the behavior of primitives, not civilized beings." The council chamber filled with various sounds that might have been agreement from different species. Some clicked their claws or tentacles. Others made whistling or buzzing noises. A few simply changed color. Captain Jisoo felt her patience beginning to wear thin. She maintained her diplomatic composure. Every species has its own customs and traditions. "We are here to learn and grow as part of the galactic community." Ambassador Vex raised himself higher on his 8 legs. "The Hegemony Coalition has discussed this matter at length. We are willing to offer your species a place in the galaxy, but only under proper supervision. You will submit to our guidance and accept our protection. Your military forces will be disbanded. Your colonies on dangerous worlds will be evacuated to safer locations that we will provide. And if we refuse," Captain Jisoo asked, Vex's voice became even colder, "then you will be classified as a rogue species and dealt with accordingly. Your death world has made you strong, but you are still just one primitive world against the combined might of thousands of civilized species." The ambassador paused for dramatic effect, looking around the council chamber. "The choice is simple. Submit to our wise rule, or face the consequences. We have destroyed other Deathworld species who refused to see reason. Their aggressive nature made them too dangerous to leave unchecked." Captain Jisoo felt something cold settle in her stomach. This was not a negotiation. This was a threat. She looked at Park Min-soo and Lee Yuna, seeing the same realization in their eyes. "We request time to consider your generous offer," she said carefully. "Of course," Vex replied with what might have been a smile on his alien features. "You have one of your Earth days to decide. Choose wisely, humans. The galaxy can be a very dangerous place for those who stand alone." The 3 humans were escorted back to their ship in silence. Once inside, they activated the secure communication system and sent an encrypted message back to Earth. Within minutes, every human colony, station, and ship in space would receive the same information. The message was simple. First contact, successful. Terms unacceptable. Prepare for all possibilities. Captain Jisoo looked out at the alien stations surrounding their small ship. Somewhere in those corridors were beings who thought humans were weak and primitive. They had just made the biggest mistake in galactic history. They had threatened Earth. And Earth did not respond well to threats. President Choi Dong-wook stood in the emergency command center deep beneath Seoul, watching dozens of screens showing human colonies across the galaxy. The secure message from Captain Jisoo had arrived 3 hours ago, and already the entire human civilization was moving into action. "Sir, all colony governors have confirmed receipt of the alert," reported Communications Director Han Seo-jin. "Every human settlement from Mars to the Kepler colonies is implementing emergency protocols. General Huang Kung-su entered the command center carrying a thick folder of documents. His face was grim but determined. "Mr. President, we have completed our assessment of the threat. The aliens made a critical error in their intelligence gathering." "Explain," President Choi said, gesturing for the general to continue. General Wang activated the main display screen. It showed a three-dimensional map of human space, with hundreds of small dots representing colonies, mining stations, and research outposts. "The Galactic Council believes we are confined to a few dozen worlds," the general explained. "According to their records, humans only live on planets similar to Earth. They have no idea about our true expansion." Dr. Nam Su-yang, the head of the Colonial Biology Institute, stepped forward. "Sir, we have been quietly establishing settlements on worlds that most alien species consider completely uninhabitable. High-gravity worlds with crushing atmospheric pressure, planets with radiation levels that would kill most organic life, even worlds with toxic atmospheres that would dissolve alien spacecraft." The president looked at the map with new understanding. "How many hidden colonies do we have?" "Over 300, General Huang replied. "Each one designed to take advantage of conditions that aliens fear. Our people have adapted to survive in environments that the Galactic Council doesn't even know exist." On the Kepler 7 mining colony, Administrator Park Woo-jin received the emergency message and immediately sealed all external communications. The colony was built inside a massive asteroid in a radiation field, so intense that most alien sensors couldn't function properly. 2,000 miners and their families lived in tunnels carved from solid rock, extracting rare metals that were essential for human technology. Begin Phase 2 preparations. Park Woo-jin told his security chief Lee Dong-yoon. "If the aliens want to fight, they picked the wrong species." Lee Dong-yoon nodded and activated the colony's hidden defense systems. What looked like simple mining equipment could quickly transform into weapon platforms. The asteroid's surface was covered with devices that appeared to be communication arrays, but were actually military sensors designed to work in high radiation environments. Meanwhile, on the ocean world of Tiamat, Colony Commander Yoon Ji-ae was holding an emergency meeting with her department heads. The entire human settlement was built underwater. Taking advantage of crushing pressure that would destroy most alien vessels, the surface stations need to look abandoned, she told Engineering Chief Kim Tae-won. "Make it appear that we evacuated when the pressure systems failed, but keep all underwater facilities fully operational." Kim Tae-won smiled grimly. "The aliens will never suspect that we built our real colony 3 kilometers underwater. Their ships can't handle the pressure at those depths." Back on Earth, Dr. Nam Su-yang was briefing the president's cabinet about humanity's biological advantages. She stood before a room full of political and military leaders, explaining concepts that most alien species would find terrifying. "Humans evolved as apex predators," she began. "We are designed to hunt, fight, and survive in conditions that would kill most galactic species. Our reflexes are faster than average. Our endurance is exceptional. And most importantly, we become more dangerous when we are threatened." Defense Minister Ko Ji-hoon raised his hand. "Doctor, can you explain why the aliens think we are primitive?" "Certainly," Dr. Nam replied. "Most advanced species evolved on worlds with stable climates and abundant resources. They developed technology to make their lives easier and more comfortable. Humans develop technology to survive. Every piece of human equipment is built to work in extreme conditions because that is normal for us." She activated a holographic display showing comparative data. For example, standard human spacesuit can operate in temperatures from -200 to +300 degrees Celsius. It can withstand radiation levels that would be lethal to most aliens. And it includes life support systems that can function for weeks without resupply. "What about alien equipment?" asked Intelligence Director Shin Myansu. "Alien spacesuits are designed for comfort and convenience," Dr. Nam explained. "They fail quickly in extreme conditions because most species never encounter such environments. Their ships are the same way, built for efficiency and comfort, not survival." Captain Oh Hyun-woo was proving this point at that very moment. His deep space reconnaissance ship, the Shadow Runner, was currently hiding inside the corona of a star. gathering intelligence on alien fleet movements. The intense heat and radiation would have destroyed any alien vessel within seconds. But human ships were built to operate in such conditions, sir. I am detecting a large alien fleet moving toward the outer colonies, reported scanner operator Beek Jiwan. 47 ships of various sizes. They appear to be conducting what they think is a surprise attack. Captain O smiled coldly. Send a coded burst transmission to Fleet Command. Let them know the aliens are coming. Then take us deeper into the star's corona. We need to see what other surprises they have planned. The Shadowrunner dove deeper into the stellar fire. Its advanced shielding protecting the crew from temperatures that would vaporize most alien technology. Through their sensors, they watched the alien fleet pass by, completely unaware that human eyes were watching their every move. On the lunar military base, General Huang was coordinating humanity's response with commanders from across human space. The main conference room was filled with holographic projections of military officers from dozens of colonies. The aliens expect us to surrender or fight A. Conventional war, he told the assembled commanders. They have superior numbers and more advanced technology. But they have never fought a species like ours. Colonel Kim Hyun-song from the Titan Defense Force raised a question. Sir, what are our rules of engagement? We fight to win, General Wang replied simply. Use every advantage our Deathworld heritage gives us. Hit them where they don't expect it. Strike from environments they can't survive in. Show them what happens when you threaten humanity. Fleet Admiral Song Mung-ho nodded approvingly. My ships are already moving to positions in the outer system. We will use the radiation fields around Jupiter to mask our approach. When the aliens arrive, they will find us ready. President Choi watched all these preparations with a mixture of pride and sadness. He had hoped that humanity's first contact with alien civilizations would lead to peace and cooperation. Instead, it was leading to war. Sir, General Wang said quietly, there is something else you should know. Our deep space monitors have detected similar threats being made to other species across the galaxy. The Galactic Council has been doing this for a long time. Any species that refuses to submit is classified as hostile and destroyed. How many species have they eliminated? The president asked. According to our analysis, at least 43 civilizations in the past 1,000 years. All of them from worlds the council classified as too dangerous or primitive. President Choi felt a cold anger settle in his chest. The aliens were not just threatening humanity, they were galactic bullies who had been destroying civilizations for centuries. Send a message to all human colonies, he ordered. Tell them that we are not just fighting for our own survival. We are fighting for every species that has ever been threatened by these cosmic tyrants. As the orders went out across human space, something remarkable began to happen. On worlds that aliens thought were empty, human colonies came to life. In asteroid fields considered too dangerous for navigation, human ships began to move. In the depths of gas giants, where the pressure would crush alien vessels, human underwater cities prepared for war. The Galactic Council had made their ultimatum expecting to face a single primitive world. They were about to discover that they had declared war on an entire Deathworld civilization that had been quietly spreading across the galaxy for decades, and Deathworlders, by their very nature, were survivors. Admiral Keth of the Hegemony Coalition stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the Sol system grow larger on the main screen. Behind him stretched a fleet of 200 warships, the largest force ever assembled to deal with a primitive species. The humans had been given their deadline, and now it was time to collect their answer. Sir, we are detecting no activity from the inner system, reported his sensor officer. The human homeworld appears to be defenseless. Keth made a satisfied clicking sound with his mandibles. As expected, these Deathworlders may be savage, but they are not stupid. They know they cannot fight the combined might of civilized space. The alien fleet moved confidently toward Earth, their ships gleaming in the sunlight. Each vessel was a masterpiece of advanced technology. Equipped with weapons that could destroy entire cities and shields that could deflect most known forms of attack, what they did not see was Captain Song, Taiwan's defense fleet. Hidden in the shadow of Jupiter's massive radiation-soaked moons, 40 human ships waited in the deadly electromagnetic storm that surrounded the gas giant. Their crews protected by shielding that alien technology could not match, sir. The alien fleet is moving past our position, reported Lieutenant Commander Park Jinyang from the sensor station. They have no idea we are here. Captain Song smiled grimly. Of course they don't. Their sensors can't function properly in this radiation field. It would blind them instantly. He activated the fleet communication system. All ships, prepare for attack pattern Deathworld 1. Show them what it means to threaten. The human fleet erupted from Jupiter's shadow like a pack of wolves. Their ships were smaller than the alien vessels, appearing almost crude by comparison. But they had been built for one purpose: to survive and fight in conditions that would destroy their enemies. Admiral Keth watched in shock as his sensors suddenly filled with human contacts. Where did they come from? There were no ships detected in that area, sir. They were hiding in the radiation field around the gas giant. His sensor officer replied with confusion in his voice. But that's impossible. The electromagnetic interference would kill any crew within minutes. Apparently not, Keth said coldly. He had underestimated these primitives, but numbers would still tell. All ships, open fire. Destroy these Deathworld savages. The space between Jupiter and Earth erupted in weapons fire. Alien energy beams lashed out at the human ships, striking their hulls with devastating force. But instead of exploding, human vessels absorbed the impact and kept fighting. Their ships are still functional, reported the weapons officer with disbelief. Our primary batteries should have vaporized those hulls. Admiral Keth studied the tactical display with growing concern. Analyzed their ship construction. How are they surviving our attacks? The answer came quickly. Sir, their hulls appear to be designed to withstand extreme environmental conditions. The same shielding that protects them from radiation is absorbing our energy weapons. Meanwhile, human ships were closing the distance rapidly. Captain Song's flagship, the Earthborn, led the charge directly toward the alien command vessel. Around him, his crew worked with deadly efficiency. Their movements quick and precise. Target their weapons systems, Song ordered. These aliens have never faced opponents who fight back. The human. Weapons were different from anything the aliens had encountered. Instead of elegant energy beams, they fired solid projectiles at incredible speeds. Metal slugs accelerated to significant fractions of light speed tore through alien hulls that were designed to deflect energy. Weapons but had no defense against kinetic impact. Admiral Keth's flagship shuddered as human. Projectiles punched through its shields and armor. How are they penetrating our defenses? Sir, they are using primitive kinetic weapons. His weapons officer replied with amazement. Solid metal projectiles. Our shields are designed to stop energy attacks, not physical impacts. Primitive? Keth snarled. These weapons are devastatingly effective. Return fire with everything we have. But the battle was not going as the aliens had planned. Human ships moved through the combat zone with aggressive tactics that seemed almost suicidal. They closed two ranges where alien weapons could barely miss, accepting damage that should have destroyed them while delivering devastating attacks of their own. On board the human destroyer Predator's Edge, Commander Bei Jinhee was leading a boarding action against a damaged alien cruiser. Her Marines moved through the alien ship's corridors, their movements coordinated like a hunting pack. Remember? These aliens evolved on safe worlds, she told her team over the communication system. They have never faced real predators. Use that against them. The human Marines encountered their first group of alien defenders in the ship's main corridor. The aliens were tall, thin beings with multiple arms and advanced energy weapons. They fired at the humans with precision and discipline. But the humans did not retreat. Instead, they used tactics that no civilized species would consider. They turned off their lights and attacked in complete darkness. Using their superior night vision to hunt aliens who could barely see, they moved in small groups, striking from multiple directions simultaneously. Most shocking of all, when human Marines were wounded, they did not fall back for medical treatment. They fought harder, driven by pain and anger that the aliens could not understand. Sir, the boarding parties are reporting impossible behavior from the humans, an alien officer reported to his captain. They are fighting with injuries that should incapacitate them. Some are continuing to attack even after taking multiple hits. The alien captain stared at his tactical display in horror. What kind of creatures are these? Commander Bay provided the answer as her team reached the alien bridge. The surviving alien crew found themselves facing humans whose equipment was damaged. His uniforms were torn, but his eyes burned with deadly determination. "We are Deathworlders," she said simply. "We come from a world that tried to kill us every day for millions of years. We learned to fight back." The alien bridge crew surrendered immediately. They had never encountered beings who became more dangerous when injured, who treated pain as motivation rather than disability. Across the battle zone, similar scenes were playing out on dozens of alien ships. Human boarding parties moved through enemy vessels like predators in their natural element. Using tactics and instincts that civilized species had never developed, Admiral Keth watched his fleet being systematically destroyed by an enemy he had dismissed as primitive. Human ships continued to function despite damage that should have been crippling. Human crews fought with an intensity that his people could not match. "Sir, you're receiving surrender requests from 12 of our ships," his communication officer reported with disbelief. "The human boarding parties are accepting surrenders and treating prisoners according to their military codes." This was perhaps the most shocking revelation of all. These savage Deathworlders, these primitive beings who fought like wild animals, were showing mercy to their defeated enemies. They followed rules of war that were more civilized than many advanced species. "All ships, withdraw to safe distance," Admiral Keth ordered. His voice carried the weight of a terrible realization. "Send a priority message to the Galactic Council. We have made a critical error in our assessment of human capabilities." As the surviving alien ships retreated toward the outer system, Captain Song's fleet regrouped near Earth. They had lost 8 ships and over 300 crew members. But they had won the first battle of the war. "Sir, we are receiving communication from the alien flagship," reported Communications Officer Lee Sang-wook. "Put them through." Captain Song replied. Admiral Ket's image appeared on the main screen, his alien features showing what might have been respect. "Human commander, you have fought with honor, but this battle changes nothing. You are still one species against thousands. Surrender now. Your people will be treated with the respect due to worthy opponents." Captain Song looked at the alien admiral with calm determination. "Admiral, you still don't understand what you're facing. This wasn't our main fleet. This was just our local defense force. And we weren't trying to destroy you. We were teaching you a lesson." "What lesson?" Keth asked. "That when you threaten Earth, you're not threatening a helpless primitive world. You're threatening the home of apex predators who have spent their entire evolutionary history learning to survive against impossible odds." Song paused, letting his words sink in. "The lesson is simple. We are not prey. We are hunters. And you just became our target." The communication ended, leaving Admiral Keth staring at a blank screen. For the first time in his long military career, he felt something that civilized species rarely experienced: the primitive fear of being hunted by a superior predator. Admiral Yoon Sung-ho stood in the command center of the human fleet's flagship, Deep Strike, studying intelligence reports from across the galaxy. 3 days had passed since the battle at Seoul, and now it was time for humanity to show the aliens what real warfare looked like, sir. "Our reconnaissance teams have identified 47 major alien military installations," reported Intelligence Officer Kong Min-jae. "Each one is considered impregnable by galactic standards." Admiral Yoon smiled coldly. "Galactic standards don't account for Deathworld tactics. Deploy the special operations teams. Show the aliens that nowhere in the galaxy is safe from human reach." On the ice world of Glacialis, Major Kong Min-ho led his team through a blizzard that would have frozen most alien species solid within minutes. The wind howled at over 200 kilometers per hour, and the temperature was 60 degrees below zero. For the aliens manning the remote sensor station, it was the perfect hiding place for humans from Earth. It was just another cold day. "Target is 2 kilometers ahead," reported Sergeant Park. Hyjin through the team's communication system. "No external security. They think the environment will protect them." Major Kong checked his equipment one more time. Human cold weather gear was designed for conditions far worse than this. "Remember, we want prisoners for intelligence gathering. Take the facility intact if possible." The human team approached the alien base like ghosts in the storm. Their white camouflage made them invisible against the blowing snow, and their movements were coordinated with the precision of pack. Hunters, the alien base was a marvel of environmental engineering, sealed against the hostile atmosphere and heated by advanced power systems. Inside, 26 aliens from 3 different species worked at monitoring stations. Tracking spacecraft movements across this sector of the galaxy, they never saw the humans. Coming, Major Kong's team entered through the facility's emergency airlock, moving in complete silence. The alien security systems were designed to detect ships and vehicles, not individual soldiers moving on foot through impossible weather conditions. "Control? Room secured," whispered Lieutenant Park Hue over the communication link. 12 prisoners, no casualties." "Excellent work," Major Kong replied. "Begin data extraction. I want everything they know about alien fleet movements and defensive positions." Meanwhile, on the toxic world of Venom, another human team was demonstrating why aliens should never underestimate Deathworld adaptability. The planet's atmosphere was a mixture of sulfuric acid and poisonous gases that would dissolve most. Organic life within seconds, Captain Shin Wujin led his Marines through the toxic fog, their advanced breathing apparatus protecting them from the deadly environment. The alien mining operation on this world was supposedly completely secure, protected by atmospheric conditions that no known species could survive, sir. "Target facility is directly ahead," reported Corporal Kim Gi-won. "Atmospheric processors are maintaining a safe zone around the complex." "Not for long," Captain Shin replied. He activated his demolition charges, destroying the atmospheric processors that kept the alien base habitable. "All teams, gas masks on. Let's see how well these aliens handled their own poisonous air." The alien facility erupted in chaos. Its toxic atmosphere began flooding their living areas. Emergency systems activated automatically, sealing off sections of the base and alerting distant command centers. But the humans were already inside, moving through areas that the aliens could no longer access. "Surrender now, and you will not be harmed," Captain Shin announced over the facility's communication system, speaking in the aliens' own language. "Continue to resist, and we will shut down your life support completely." The alien commander, a being that looked like a large insect with compound eyes, stared at his monitors in disbelief. "How are they breathing in that atmosphere? It should have killed them instantly, sir." "These are humans," his deputy replied with fear in his voice. "The reports from Seoul were true. They can survive in environments that would kill us." The alien commander made the only logical choice. "All personnel, lay down your weapons. Signal our surrender to the human forces." Across the galaxy, similar scenes were playing out on dozens of worlds. Human special forces appeared in locations that aliens considered completely inaccessible. They moved through radiation fields that would sterilize most life forms. They operated underwater at depths where the pressure would crush alien submarines. They fought in gravity fields so strong that most species would be flattened instantly, Dr. Lim. June was analyzing the intelligence gathered from these operations in her laboratory aboard the research vessel Deep Thought. As the fleet's chief xenobiologist, her job was to understand alien weaknesses and develop tactics to exploit them. "The patterns are becoming clear," she told Admiral Yoon during their daily briefing. "Most alien species have evolved on worlds with stable, comfortable environments. They have never developed the adaptability that comes from surviving on a death world. Explain the tactical implications," the Admiral requested. "Sir, alien military doctrine is based on technological superiority and numerical advantage. They expect to fight battles in comfortable environments using advanced equipment. When we force them to operate in extreme conditions, their effectiveness drops dramatically. Engineer KO. Sung Jin entered the briefing room carrying a collection of captured alien weapons. Admiral, I have completed my analysis of enemy equipment. Their weapons are more advanced than ours in terms of raw power, but they have critical weaknesses. Show me. Admiral Yoon said. KO Sung Jin activated a holographic display showing the internal components of an alien energy rifle. Their weapons are designed for optimal performance in controlled environments. Temperature extremes, electromagnetic interference, or high radiation levels cause them to malfunction rapidly, and human weapons. Our kinetic weapons are much more reliable in adverse conditions. A human rifle will function in environments that would cause alien weapons to explode in their users' hands. This information was already being put to use by human forces across the galaxy. On the high radiation world of Gamma Station, Lieutenant Colonel Yu Sunmi was leading an assault on an alien fortress that was supposedly protected by deadly radiation levels. Double quote, sir. Radiation readings are at lethal levels for most organic life, reported her sensor operator. Good, Colonel, Yu replied. That means the aliens will be relying entirely on automated defenses. Their crews won't be able to function in this environment. The human assault. Force moved through the radiation field like it was a mild inconvenience. Their equipment functioned normally while alien. Sensors failed, and defensive systems shut down to protect their delicate components. Inside the fortress, the alien commander watched his defenses collapse one by one. How are they advancing? The radiation should have killed them hours ago, sir. Our automated systems are failing due to radiation interference, his technical officer reported. The humans appear to be immune to the effects. Immune? The commander asked in disbelief. Sir, I am reading the intelligence reports from other facilities. Human equipment is designed to function in extreme radiation environments. Their crews show no signs of radiation sickness even after prolonged exposure to lethal levels. The alien commander felt a chill that had nothing to do with the fortress's failing life support systems. These humans were not just surviving in conditions that would kill his people. They were thriving in them. Back on Earth, President Choi Dong-wook was meeting with his military advisors to review the progress of their operations. The main conference room was filled with holographic displays showing human forces operating across dozens of star systems, sir. Our special operations teams have successfully captured or destroyed over 60% of alien military installations in this sector, reported General Wang Kungsu. Resistance has been lighter than expected. Why? The president asked. The aliens are having difficulty coordinating their response, General Wang explained. Their communication networks depend on relay stations positioned on worlds they consider safe. When we capture those stations, we disrupt their ability to respond to our attacks. Intelligence Director Shin Myong-soo added more information. Sir, we are also detecting signs of panic among alien civilian populations. Reports of human forces appearing in impossible locations are spreading faster than their governments can suppress them. Dr. Nam Su-yang had been analyzing psychological reports from captured alien personnel. Mr. President, we are dealing with species that have never encountered true predators. The concept of being hunted is completely outside their experience. Explain. President Choi requested, Sir, most alien species evolved as prey animals or passive herbivores. When faced with aggressive predators like humans, their instinct is to flee rather than fight. This is causing mass desertions from their military forces. The president studied the tactical displays with satisfaction. How long before we can end this war? General Huang considered the question carefully. Sir, at our current rate of advance, we could capture or neutralize all major alien military assets within 6 months. However, I recommend we consider a different approach. What do you mean? Sir, our intelligence suggests that there are other species in the galaxy who have been threatened by the Galactic Council. Species from worlds. Grand Admiral Vorthok of the Galactic Council stared at the tactical display in the command center of Kepler Station, the most heavily fortified military installation in known space. Around him, Representatives from 47 different species worked frantically to coordinate the largest fleet ever assembled. Galactic history. Status report, he demanded from his aide. A nervous creature that resembled a walking plant with too many eyes, sir. We have assembled over 8,000 warships from across the galaxy, the aide reported. Every major species has contributed their most advanced vessels. This force should be sufficient to crush any resistance from the human Deathworlders. Vorthok nodded with satisfaction. The humans had proven more dangerous than expected, but numbers would eventually tell. No species could stand against the combined might of the entire galaxy. What is the status of our intelligence on human capabilities? He asked. Sir, our analysts believe the humans have approximately 200 ships total. Their ground forces numbered less than 50,000 soldiers, even accounting for their apparent environmental advantages. They cannot resist this level of force. What the Grand Admiral did not know was that Colonel Shin Ji-hoon and his special forces, his team had been living inside Kepler Station for the past 3 weeks. They had entered through maintenance shafts filled with radiation levels that would have been lethal to any alien species, and they had been systematically preparing the station for capture. Sir, the alien fleet is almost fully assembled, reported Sergeant Major Baek Sung-ho through their encrypted communication system. Should we begin the final phase? Colonel Shin checked his watch. In 12 hours, the human fleet would arrive for what the aliens expected to be the final battle of the war. Begin environmental modifications now. Make sure the aliens understand what it means to fight on our terms. The modifications began subtly. Kepler Station's atmospheric processors started introducing trace amounts of gases that were harmless to humans but would cause gradual disorientation in most alien species. The temperature in key areas began rising to levels that humans considered comfortable, but that would cause heat exhaustion in aliens from cooler worlds. Most importantly, the radiation shielding that protected the stations. Crew began developing small failures in areas where aliens would seek cover during battle. Grand Admiral, Vorthok noticed the first signs 12 hours later. Just as Captain Im Seojin's human fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the system, sir. We are detecting irregularities in the station's environmental systems, reported the chief engineer. Atmospheric composition is shifting. Radiation levels are increasing in several sections. Fix it immediately, Vorthok ordered. We cannot have system failures during the battle, sir. Problems appear to be getting worse, not better. The engineer replied with confusion. It is as if someone is sabotaging our systems from the inside. The Grand Admiral felt a chill of fear. Impossible. This station is completely secure. No one could have infiltrated our defenses at that moment. Captain Im Seojin's voice came over the station's communication system. Grand Admiral Vorthok of the Galactic Council. This is Captain Im Seojin of the Human Defense Fleet. You are surrounded and outgunned. Surrender immediately. Vorthok looked at his tactical display in disbelief. The human fleet consisted of only 40 ships, tiny compared to his massive force. You must be joking, human. You are outnumbered 200 to 1. Numbers don't matter when you don't understand the battlefield, Captain Im replied. You chose to make your stand in a radiation field near an unstable star. Your ships can't function properly in these conditions. Ours were built for them, as if to prove his point. The human fleet began moving directly through the radiation field that surrounded Kepler Station. The deadly energies that would have fried most alien equipment had no effect on human ships. Worse, the alien fleet found that their sensors were being disrupted by the radiation, making it difficult to target the smaller human vessels. Their weapon systems were operating at reduced efficiency. While human kinetic weapons worked perfectly in the harsh environment, all ships. Open fire, Grand Admiral Vorthok ordered. Destroy these primitive savages. The battle that followed was unlike anything in galactic history. 8,000 alien warships fought desperately against 40 human vessels. But the environment itself was fighting on humanity's side. Alien ships that ventured too close to the unstable star found their cooling systems failing. Those that tried to use the asteroid field for cover discovered that human ships could navigate the dangerous debris at high speed, while alien vessels were forced to move slowly or risk collision. Most shocking of all, Human boarding parties began appearing on alien ships throughout the battle zone. They moved through space in individual suits that should have provided no protection against the intense radiation. But somehow they continued to function. On the bridge of the alien dreadnought Cosmic Fury, Admiral Zenth watched in horror as human marines cut through his ship's hull using tools that continued to work despite radiation, levels that had shut down most of his own equipment. "How are they surviving out there?" he asked his science officer. "Sir, human equipment appears to be designed for extreme radiation environments. They are treating conditions that would kill our crews as merely hazardous." The human boarding party, led by Major Park Tajin, moved through the alien ship's corridors like they were taking a casual walk. Their equipment functioned normally, while alien systems failed around them. "Attention, alien crew," Major Park announced over the ship's internal communication. "Your life support systems are failing due to radiation exposure. Surrender now, and we will evacuate you to safety." Admiral Zenth stared at his failing control panels. The radiation that was killing his ship was apparently just an inconvenience to the humans. "All crew, abandon ship. Signal our surrender to the human forces." Similar scenes played out across the battle zone as the massive alien fleet discovered that their technological superiority meant nothing in an environment where their equipment could not function. Back on Kepler Station, Colonel Shin Ji-hoon's sabotage operation reached its final phase. The station's main reactor, already stressed by the environmental modifications, began experiencing cascade failures that would have been catastrophic if not carefully controlled. "Sir, the station's reactor is approaching critical overload," reported the alien chief engineer with panic in his voice. Grand Admiral Vorthok realized that his supposedly impregnable fortress was about to become a death trap. "All personnel, evacuate to the escape pods, sir." "The escape pod systems are not functioning," the engineer replied. "The radiation levels are too high for our emergency equipment to operate." At that moment, Colonel Shin and his team emerged from the maintenance shafts where they had been hiding. The alien command staff stared in shock at the human soldiers who had been living inside their most secure facility for weeks. "Gentlemen," Colonel Shin said politely, "we are here to offer you safe passage off this station. Our evacuation shuttles are designed to operate in high radiation environments." Grand Admiral Vorthok looked at the human colonel with a mixture of respect and fear. "You have been inside our station all this time?" "3 weeks," Colonel Shin confirmed. "Your security systems are designed to detect ships and large equipment. They don't account for small teams moving through areas that would kill your own people." The evacuation proceeded smoothly, with human shuttles ferrying alien personnel to safety while their own ships were destroyed or disabled by the harsh environment. Within 6 hours, the largest alien fleet in galactic history had been completely defeated by a force less than 1% their size. Captain Im Sejun stood on the captured bridge of Kepler Station, watching the surviving alien ships retreat toward the outer system. His communication officer, Lieutenant Choi Mikyeon, looked up from her station with an important message. "Sir, we are receiving surrender offers from alien fleets in 47 star systems. It appears that news of this battle has spread quickly." Captain Im nodded with satisfaction. "Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them that Phase 1 of Apex Protocol is complete. The Galactic Council's military force has been neutralized. What about Phase 2, sir?" Lieutenant Choi asked. Captain Im looked out at the stars, knowing that somewhere among them were other Deathworld species who had been oppressed by the Galactic Council for centuries. "Phase 2 begins now. Send encrypted messages to every species we have identified as potential allies. Tell them that the galaxy is about to change." Grand Admiral Vorthok, now a prisoner aboard a human ship, watched through a porthole as his life's work burned in the radiation field around Kepler Station. "How did you know we would make our stand here?" he asked his human guard. Sergeant Kim Young-suk smiled. "We didn't choose this battlefield, Admiral. You did. You picked the location that you thought would give you the greatest advantage. You never considered that what looks like an advantage to you might look like home to us?" The alien admiral thought about this for a long moment. You planned this entire war around our weaknesses, didn't you? No, sir, Sergeant Kim replied. We planned it around our strengths. The same strengths that have kept humanity alive on a world that has tried to kill us for millions of years, as the human fleet. President Choi Dong-wook stood in the main communications center of the United Earth government, watching dozens of screens displaying alien species from across the galaxy. For the first time in galactic history, Deathworld species were speaking to each other as equals rather than as conquered subjects. The first to respond had been the Kovari, a reptilian species from the volcanic world of Infernus. Their representative, War Leader Krex, spoke through a translation device that converted his hissing speech into human language. Human President Krex said, his scarred face showing respect for 300 years. The Galactic Council told us we were too savage for civilized space. They forced us to abandon our traditional weapons and fighting methods. Today, we take them back. On another screen, Deep Commander Thalos of the aquatic species from Abyssos was explaining her people's situation. The Council demanded we evacuate our deep ocean cities because they said the pressure was too dangerous for proper supervision. We built new cities at depths they cannot reach. Now we are ready to fight. President Choi felt a surge of pride as he listened to story after story of oppression and resistance. Each species had found ways to survive despite the Council's attempts to control them. Each had developed abilities that the galaxy's civilized races could not understand. Captain Jisoo. What is the status of our allied fleet? The President asked Captain Kim Ji-soo, now promoted to Admiral of the Allied Deathworld Forces, gestured to the tactical display. Sir, we have confirmed military commitments from 37 Deathworld species. Total combined fleet strength is over 1,500 ships. In the enemy, the remaining Galactic Council forces have retreated to their core systems. Intelligence estimates they still have approximately 4,000 ships, but morale is extremely low following their defeat at Kepler Station. General Huang Kung-soo entered the communication center with the latest intelligence reports. Mr. President, we have intercepted communications from several Council member species. They are requesting permission to surrender independently, rather than continue the war. President Choi considered this development. What does our analysis suggest? Sir, Dr. Nam-soo Yang believes we are seeing the complete collapse of their alliance structure. Most Council species joined because they were afraid of being conquered. Now that they see we offer cooperation rather than domination, they want to change sides. The President nodded. Prepare a broadcast to all remaining Council forces. It's time to end this war. Meanwhile, the final battle was already beginning in the Centauri core, the oldest and most heavily defended system in Galactic Council space. Admiral Yoon Swang-ho commanded the human portion of the Allied fleet, while representatives from dozens of Deathworld species led their own forces. Sir? The Council's final fleet is taking defensive positions around their capital world, reported as Tactical Officer, Commander Park Seo-jin. They appear to be using the planet's gravity well as a defensive barrier. Admiral Yoon studied the tactical situation. The enemy had chosen their position carefully, using the massive planet's gravity to limit the approach routes for attacking ships. It should have been an impregnable defensive position. Should have been, signaled the Kovari fleet. Admiral Yoon ordered. Ask War Leader Krex if his people are ready to show the galaxy what volcano world engineering can accomplish. On the bridge, the Kovari flagship Burning Fang, War Leader Krex received the human admiral's message with something that might have been laughter. Human Admiral, he replied, my ships were built in the lava tubes of active volcanoes. This planet's gravity is no different from the crushing conditions we call home. The Kovari fleet dove directly into the gravity well that the Council forces thought would protect them. Their ships, designed to withstand the incredible pressures inside volcanic chambers, handled the gravitational stress easily while Council vessels struggled to maintain formation in the intense field from the deep ocean world of Abyssos. Deep Commander Thalos led her submarines through the system's asteroid belt. Her people had learned to navigate by sonar in the crushing depths of their world's oceans. making them naturally suited for operations in zero-visibility conditions. Council ships are attempting to use the asteroid field for cover, she reported to Admiral Yoon. They cannot see us, but we can hear their engine vibrations through the rock. Beginning hunt pattern depth strike, the aquatic vessels move through the asteroid field like predatory sharks, using echolocation and pressure wave detection to track enemies who thought they were safely hidden. Council ships that entered the asteroid field found themselves under attack by opponents they could not see or track, but it was the arrival of the ferrite, a silicon-based species from the high-radiation world of Gammacore, that broke the Council's final defense. Their ships were essentially living metal constructs that fed on radiation for energy. Human, Admiral, transmitted Forge Master Zenth in a voice like grinding stone. The enemy is using the system's star as a defensive barrier. The radiation levels are intended to damage attacking ships. Can your people handle those radiation levels? Admiral Yoon asked. Handle them? Forge Master Zenth replied with what sounded like mechanical laughter. We consume them. Watch as we show these soft species what it means to feed on starfire. The ferrite fleet flew directly through the corona of the system's star, metal holes glowing white-hot from absorbed radiation. They emerged on the other side of the defensive perimeter like avenging angels made of living fire. Their weapons powered by energies that would have killed any organic crew. The final Council fleet found itself surrounded by enemies that thrived in conditions designed to kill them. Kovari ships operated easily in crushing gravity fields. Aquatic vessels hunted invisibly through debris clouds. Silicon-based warriors absorbed deadly radiation as food for their weapons. In coordinating it all were human ships and crews. The apex predators who had learned to hunt in pack formations and adapt to any environment, Supreme Chancellor, Vex of the Hegemony Coalition. The same alien who had first threatened humanity, watched his civilization's final fleet crumble from the bridge of his command ship. His 8 legs trembled as he realized the magnitude of his error. Sir, you're receiving surrender requests from over half our remaining ships, his aide reported with despair. The crews are saying they cannot fight enemies who are immune to the battlefield conditions. Chancellor. Vex stared at the tactical display showing Deathworld ships operating in environments that should have been instantly lethal. How did we not see this coming? How did we miss that these species would unite against us? The answer came from an unexpected source. Dr. Lim Jun, the human xenobiologist, was broadcasting on all frequencies from the research vessel Deep Thought. Chancellor Vex, she said, her voice carrying across the battle zone, you missed it because you never understood what you were fighting. You saw Deathworld species as primitive and savage because we survived in harsh environments. You never realized that survival in harsh environments requires intelligence, cooperation, and adaptability. You classify species by the comfort of their homeworld, Dr. Lim continued. You assume that comfortable worlds produce superior beings, but comfortable worlds produce specialists who cannot adapt when conditions change. Harsh worlds produce survivors who can thrive anywhere on Earth. President Choi was preparing to address the entire galaxy. The main communication array had been modified to broadcast on every frequency used by every known species. For the first time in galactic history, a Deathworld leader would speak to the entire civilized galaxy as an equal. People of the galaxy, President Choi began. His words translated into hundreds of languages simultaneously. Today marks the end of one era and the beginning of another. For thousands of years, the Galactic Council has maintained order through fear and oppression. They told Deathworld species that we were too dangerous, too primitive, too savage for civilized space. The president paused, letting his words reach every corner of known space. They were wrong. We were not too savage for civilization. We were too strong for slavery, on the bridge of his flagship Earth's Wrath. Admiral Kim Ji-soo watched the final council ships surrender one by one. The war that had begun with threats and ultimatums was ending with something unprecedented in galactic history. Mercy from the victors, sir. Chancellor Vex is requesting permission to surrender his remaining forces, reported Communications Officer Lee Sang-wook. Grant his request, Admiral Jisoo replied, and send him safe passage to the negotiation site. It's time to build something better than what came before. The surrender ceremony took place on Harmony Station, the same location where humanity had first encountered the Galactic Council's threats. But now the massive station hosted representatives from over 60 species, including 37 Deathworld civilizations that had been hidden or oppressed for centuries. Chancellor Vex, looking diminished and defeated, stood before the assembled delegates. His voice was quiet as he addressed the gathering. "I have spent my career believing that civilized order required the suppression of dangerous elements," he said. "I believed that species from harsh worlds were threats to be contained or eliminated. Today, I learned that the greatest threat to galactic civilization was my own ignorance." 2 years after the formation of the Deathworld Alliance, Admiral Kim Jisoo stood on the observation deck of Unity Station, the largest multi-species construction project in galactic history. Through the massive windows, she could see ships from dozens of different civilizations working together to build something that had never existed before. A truly cooperative galactic society. "Admiral Wall, the morning briefing is ready," announced her aide, Lieutenant Commander Park Ji-yoon. The young officer carried reports from across the galaxy, but her expression was troubled. "What's the problem, Commander?" Admiral Jisoo asked, as they walked toward the briefing room. "Ma'am, we are receiving distress calls from the Outer Rim territories. Long-range sensors have detected something approaching from beyond the galactic edge. Something big." The briefing room was filled with representatives from the Allied Defense Force. War Leader Krex of the Kovari sat beside Deep Commander Thalas of the Aquatic Forces. Forge Master Zenth's metallic form gleamed next to Dr. Lim Jun's more fragile human frame. Even former Chancellor Vex was present, now serving as the Alliance's diplomatic advisor. "Show us what we're dealing with," Admiral Jisoo requested. The main display activated, showing long-range sensor data from the galactic edge. What they saw made everyone in the room fall silent. Hundreds of massive structures were approaching the galaxy, each one larger than any space station ever built. "Analysis suggests these are not ships," reported Chief Science Officer Park Min-soo. "They appear to be mobile habitats containing entire civilizations. The energy signatures indicate technology far more advanced than anything we have encountered." War Leader Krex studied the display with his warrior's instincts. "Are they hostile?" "Unknown," Dr. Lim replied. "Their approach is slow and deliberate, not like an invasion fleet. But the scale is unprecedented. Each structure could contain billions of beings." Former Chancellor Vex spoke up, his voice carrying the weight of hard-earned wisdom. "In my experience, when unknown civilizations approach with overwhelming numbers, it is rarely for peaceful purposes." Admiral Jisoo considered the situation carefully. The Alliance had spent 2 years learning to work together, but they had never faced a threat from outside their own galaxy. "What do we know about the space beyond our galaxy?" she asked. Dr. Nam Su-yang activated another display showing theoretical models of intergalactic space. "Until now, we assumed the space between galaxies was empty. These structures suggest we were wrong. There may be entire civilizations that live in the void between star systems, void dwellers," Captain Oh Hin-woo said quietly. "Species that evolve in the emptiness between galaxies. If that's true, they would make our Deathworld conditions look comfortable." The implications of this statement settled over the room like a cold wind. If there were beings who thrived in the absolute emptiness of intergalactic space, what would they consider habitable conditions? "Sir," Lieutenant Commander Park reported urgently, "we are receiving a transmission from the approaching structures. They are requesting permission to enter our galaxy." "Put it through," Admiral Jisoo ordered. The communication that followed was unlike anything they had ever experienced. Instead of words or images, it was pure mathematical concepts transmitted directly into their minds. The translation system struggled to convert the alien thoughts into understandable language. "Greetings, inhabitants of the spiral structure you call home," the message began. "We are the Wanderers. Children of the Great Void. We seek passage through your domain to reach the far spiral where our ancient enemies await." Admiral Jisoo exchanged glances with her staff. Transmission reply: "We welcome peaceful travelers, but we must understand your intentions." What is the nature of your conflict? The response came immediately. Long ago, our people were exiled from the far spiral by beings who called themselves the Devourers. They consume entire star systems to fuel their expansion. We have spent 10,000 years gathering strength to return and reclaim our ancestral home. War leader Krex leaned forward with interest. They are refugees seeking to reclaim their homeland. This is a cause my people can understand. But Deep Commander Thalos was more cautious. We know nothing about their capabilities or their true intentions. They could be the aggressors in this ancient conflict. The debate continued for hours. Some Alliance members wanted to offer immediate assistance to the Wanderers. Others urged caution until more information could be gathered. Finally, Admiral Jisoo made the decision. We will offer them safe passage through our territory, but with conditions. A small delegation will be invited to Unity Station for face-to-face negotiations. We need to understand exactly what we're dealing with. 3 days later, the first Wanderer delegation arrived at Unity Station. What emerged from their transport craft was beyond anything the Alliance had imagined. The Wanderers were beings of living energy. Creatures who had adapted to survive in the absolute vacuum of intergalactic space without any physical form. Their spokesperson, who called herself Void Whisper, communicated through fluctuations in electromagnetic fields that the station's computers could barely translate. Your species fascinate us, Void Whisper said during the first meeting. You have adapted to survive on worlds with crushing gravity, toxic atmospheres, and deadly radiation. But you still require physical matter for existence. President Choi Dong-wook, attending the meeting via holographic projection from Earth, asked the critical question. Tell us about these Devourers you seek to fight. What threat do they pose to our galaxy? Void Whisper's energy form flickered with what might have been sadness. The Devourers are a plague upon all existence. They consume the energy of stars to fuel their reproduction. When they finish with a galaxy, nothing remains but cold. Empty space. The Alliance representatives exchanged worried glances. Dr. Lim spoke first. Are you saying they destroy entire galaxies? Not destroy, Void Whisper corrected. Consume. They harvest the energy of every star, every planet, every form of life. What they leave behind is a void even we cannot inhabit. War leader Krex stood up, his warrior instincts fully aroused. How long before they reach our galaxy? By your measurement of time, perhaps 500 years, Void Whisper replied. They move slowly, consuming everything in their path. But their advance is unstoppable unless they are. Confronted with sufficient force, General Huang Kung-so joined the conversation from his command. Center on Earth? What kind of force would be required to stop them? The combined strength of multiple galaxies, Void Whisper answered. This is why we seek alliance with all civilizations we encounter. The Devourers can only be stopped by unity among all forms of life. Former Chancellor Vex spoke up with hard-earned wisdom. And if we refuse to help you? If we choose to remain neutral in this ancient conflict? Void Whisper's energy form pulsed with what seemed like certainty. Then, in 500 years, your descendants will face the same choice we faced 10,000 years ago. Fight or be consumed. The difference is that you will face them alone, without allies from the Void. The negotiations continued for weeks. The Alliance learned that the Wanderers possessed technology that could enhance their own defensive capabilities. In exchange for passage through the galaxy and assistance in their war, they offered to share knowledge that could help protect entire star systems from consumption. But the decision was not easy. Joining an intergalactic war meant committing the Alliance to a conflict that could last thousands of years. It meant preparing entire civilizations for battles beyond anything they had imagined. Admiral Jisoo found herself walking the corridors of Unity Station late at night. Thinking about the impossible choice they faced, she was joined by Dr. Nam Suyang, who had been analyzing the biological implications of the Wanderers' proposals. Doctor, what's your assessment of the situation? The Admiral asked. From a biological standpoint, the Wanderers are the ultimate Deathworld species, Dr. Nam replied. They have adapted to survive in conditions that would kill every other form of life we know. If they say the Devourers are a threat to all existence, we should believe them, but committing to an intergalactic war, Admiral. Every Deathworld species in our alliance has faced extinction at least once. We survive by fighting back, by refusing to give up. The question is not whether we can afford to fight this war. The question is whether we can afford not to fight it. The final vote was held in the Great Assembly Hall of Unity Station. Representatives from 67 species cast their decisions in a dozen different ways. Some spoke their votes. Others changed colors. A few transmitted mathematical formulas that expressed their choice. When the counting was complete, the result was unanimous. The Deathworld Alliance would join the Wanderers in their ancient war against the Wat. President Choi addressed the assembly with words that would echo across the galaxy for generations. We came from worlds that tried to kill us, and we survived. We faced galactic oppression, and we overcame it. Now, we face a threat to all existence, and we will meet it the same way we have met every other challenge. Together, the first joint construction projects began immediately. Wanderer technology was integrated with Alliance engineering to create defensive installations unlike anything previously imagined. Entire star systems were fortified with energy shields that could protect them.